Hello, everybody. Thanks for hanging out tonight. We're gonna start things off a little crazy, because people like to see me need to make tough choices like this. We're gonna be rolling off. Okay, your choice, actually. I've got a D20 here, or a 50-cent piece, which is $1. This is 50 cents, right? Dollar, 50 cents. $50. Yeah, that was probably really loud on the microphone. Sorry. So yeah, today I learned that multi-votes get me into trouble, so that'll be changing. But the two choices are pretty cool. I'd be happy to make either one of them. I think that we can do a lot of crazy stuff. Okay, so Joe says for the 50-cent piece. Would anybody rather me use the D20? Your choice. What are you feeling? Get a sense of the room. I'll do if you like the D20. Okay. If we did the 50-cent piece, the plated mantle of Grumsh would be heads. The wand would be tails. And 1 through, geez, yeah, I guess 1 through 10. Yeah, 1 through 10 will be the wand, and 11 through 20 will be the plated mantle, rather. Do I have a preference? Yeah, I think it'd be more dramatic. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think I want to use the 50-cent piece, just because that's fun. I don't get to use them that often, so we'll do that. Alrighty. So heads is the plated mantle of Grimsh, and tails is the wand. All right, you ready? If I miss this, erase it from your memory, because it's not as cool if I don't catch it. Ready? It is tails. Right there. It's tails. So it looks like we're making the wand. That said, I know a lot of people really wanted that plated mantle, so I'll keep it on the back burner. We'll investigate that. That could make its way into the Saddlebag at a later date. Maybe not on a Wednesday night workshop, but I mean, I like the mechanics, and there is kind of a lack for armor-y things in the Saddlebag, and mostly that's just because they take a while to draw. And they can be like a little bit finicky with proportions and stuff. You can get away with some more stuff with weapons, but it's very obvious to tell if armor looks wrong. And exactly, yeah. So I think there is as much, if not more so, a lack of wands in the Saddlebag. So I think that the wand is perfectly fine. Yeah, there's also just a lack of magical armor in 5e in general, yeah. There aren't even that many, and of the few that there are, 2 of them are cursed. So that sucks. Yeah. I mean, the demon one is pretty cool. So, oh man, that cup is really big, like right in your face. Sorry, guys. Fun fact, I made this cup. Yeah, there's one wand, and there's a single wand. It is a common item if you don't know it by heart, or if you don't remember it. It is the it's Borbos's Joyous Wand of Color, and it allows you to kind of like paint on stuff essentially with like illusionary magic stuff. And it's fun. It's a fun little thing. You can use it to write notes or draw draw stuff. It's silly. It's fun. Yeah, I mean it's special, sure, but it's also like I don't know. I try to make a balance of everything. It will still be special. It will still be the only common one because I guarantee you this will not be a common item. So I need to take another look at exactly what the Battle Master can do. Like its various different orders or whatever. Now the Battle Master is not SRD, so I can't use it. I can't say, you know, like using the Battle Masters. I don't think it's SRD. No, it's not. So I have to just kind of like rewrite stuff basically is all that means. So I can say I can give it. I can even like make some up too and call them different things. Just kind of bullet point them, give them like 3 things that they could use a charge on for each, and that's totally fine too. Yeah, like plate mail takes a long time, Mike, and like the one plate mail that's in the saddlebag is the iron leaf plate. That took some time. I don't want to like purposefully avoid it just because that's lame of me. So I'm definitely gonna be I'm gonna be making some more armors coming up soon. I'm gonna be focusing on that more. So don't worry about it, or at least try not to. I suppose I can't tell you what to do. Yeah. Okay. So mechanics aside, we know that this thing is going to be kind of what some kind of tactician will be using. Kind of like a joke, as a joke was made on Discord earlier. And if you're not on Discord, get on Discord. What are you doing? Like orchestrating a battlefield, right? Works. And I think that is interesting. So being able to kind of like point and say, you do this, you do that, you know, just menacing tusks and all. Yeah. The one of my players has the wyvern, has the windswept wyvern plate too. Yeah. Well, it's okay. So Zap, the problem with plate is that it's full body. So it's not just like, it's not like a breastplate or something, or like I can show just like a chain, like a chain shirt. It's shoulders, knees, and toes, and all you know, everything in between. So, well, oh man, good luck, Earl. I hope that goes well. I'm sure it will. You'll do great. It's a lot of fun to be the omnipotent overlord of a make-believe world. So I'm sure you'll take kindly to it. Nothing on your character. It's just fun to be. It's fun to be a pseudo god. Yeah. Also on the Discord, yeah, as Mike and Ike is saying, just like an axe that has like the blades kind of like just ignored or sawed off or something like that. So I think that what we can do here, like I'm thinking, the Wand of Fear from the DMG is a really cool looking wand, and I'm kind of leaning towards something like that, where it is gruesome and crazy looking, and I think that's the kind of vibe that we're going for here. I'm pulling up. I'm gonna take my mug off the screen here. So let's take a look at what we got. This is the Wand of Fear I'm talking about. Yeah, that one, if I could spell. There aren't pictures here, but there are images. Yeah, so I'm thinking maybe something a bit more tusky, a bit more like kind of plated. So not like witchy, which is kind of what this is, but yeah, like from Three Tusks, exactly. Yeah, and I think the tusks are a good idea. So I think that like tusks, a skull, some kind of plate, like kind of like almost like iron, yeah, iron plates kind of around it would look really neat. Trying to think of, we could even go, like what they use in like in war rooms, right? They have these kind of like little shuffleboard pushers too, that these kind of like move things around on a map, like Risk-ish, and we could kind of make it so that it could have like 2 tusks on the side that are kind of like those whatever things, hooks. Sure, fur is a good idea. Iron handle, yep. That's okay. That's a good idea. A Heliath, something like that. It might need to double as a dagger. I don't know. I'm thinking like it's a mace. I mean, the problem is that if it's two things, what do you label it as? And I want this to specifically be a wand. And I can imagine like some kind of orcish chieftain, like running around with like axe in one hand and like wand in the other. So maybe giving the wand some kind of defensive properties, or like telling an ally that you're next to, saying, hey, like protect me. So instead of having a shield, he's like telling your allies, expending a charge as a reaction to tell your allies to block this thing. Yeah, primitively held together, yeah. Okay. So yeah, exactly. Yeah, like zap. Like meat shieldy. Or at least like, or say if you can use your reaction to add +2 to your AC against an attack or something like that. If you're adjacent to another creature, like another allied creature, something like that. So make the wand have a sharp part so it can be used, but not call it a dagger. Yeah, no, it's true. I mean, if we do put a skull on the end of it. Oh, this is a better picture, so you can get an idea. It look kind of like just like what wands look like. Yeah, they're so boring, man. We got to make a cool wand. Excuse me. Yeah, I think definitely having something pretty like rad about it is going to be super necessary. It can't just be boring. Sure, yeah. I mean, like orcs are pretty ruthless, so I could see that happening. Zap. Yeah, like having a divert an attack. Yeah, like 1d4 bludgeoning is fine. Yeah. Do wands have the light property? Is that a thing? I mean, can you dual wield? Like, could you have a sword in one hand and a wand in the other? Is there anything that says that you can't? I don't know. Should I specify that it has the light property? Okay, so they're right. You're right. They're not weapons. So that's so weird. Just things you hold. Yeah. So I guess yeah, you could just kind of hold it in your offhand. And say as a bonus action, if you take the attack action on your turn, you can use a bonus action. There we go. That's the thing. Okay. So instead of using it as like a mace or something, you can use a bonus action and hold it out and like use a charge to do like necrotic damage to something. I could see that happening, and that would keep it a bit more simple. But we might have to tie it to Groomsh in some way, just to kind of make up for the magic, because I mean orcs don't really use magic that much, like Zap said, and it's true. Yeah. So here, let's do something like this. Let's pull up a paste bin here. If I can spell, that'd be great. Oh man, I really wanted to know how those stocks were doing. Thanks. Okay, so we'll say Warmind Wand, and we're just gonna kind of like really loosely put this out. Okay, wand. We'll call it rare right now. It doesn't have to be. requires attunement. We're gonna say by a half orc, but any DM should know that you can totally use this as an orc. Just in the DMG specifically, which is what I try to kind of stick around. They don't refer to things being attunable by non PC race. In the DMG, only half orcs are PCs. So, and I have to stick with what's in the SRD. So I'd rather just kind of not. I don't know. I don't want to twist things if I don't have to. By a half orc. Shaman, yeah, sure. I mean, you can call it like shaman warmind wand. Shamans. That works. Improvised weapon, yep. Small freaky creature. Small freaky creature. I don't know. I do not have an incredibly intimate knowledge of what's in the monster manual, unfortunately. Gotcha, for like a face skull. You know, they would love that. Have like a pixie skull on it, because I know that historically orcs really dislike. If you could hear that, there's thunder outside. I know that historically they really like smashing in Fey and Elven skulls. But this, I mean, so a skull would easily make this thing into a mace, right? Because like a skull's pretty big. And we definitely want to keep it smaller so that it stays within the realms of wand-ish. Hey Coco, nice to see you. Yeah. Yeah, we can say Pixie for now. Is there something? Let's just pull this up. Yeah, let's pull up the SRD. Monsters by type. Fey. Okay, so I'm looking at things on the SRG just because A, it's easier for me to look it up, but also so that I could reference it specifically. I could do a sprite. Man, all of these options suck for being a Fey. Yeah, this is tiny, so that'd be good. I could put a sprite bottle on it. Kidding, I wouldn't do that. Yeah, and that's about right. Man, that is tiny though. Is that too tiny? That's probably, yeah. I mean, if its head's the size of a flower. Yeah, like a sprite head would be like the size of a bottle cap or something. But you could totally use like the wings to wrap it around or something like that, and that'd look pretty cool. Small animal skull would be fine. Well, I think here, sure, like the flowers can be pretty big, but here specifically, like with this kind of indication of like how big this leaf is in comparison to the flower, I think it's pretty safe to say that this is like just a pretty standard like tulip or something. Could do, I mean, they use dogs a lot, and we could also kind of continue to, because this is shaman, right? Shamans could just use like kind of generic skulls anyway, or tusks that you know from their fallen comrades, and especially because this is like a war tactician thing too. Like tusks from your fallen allies would be pretty metal, you know, and would definitely kind of fall into their aesthetic. Kind of like latching them together. Yeah, I know that Logic. I think it was Logic. Somebody posted an image earlier on Discord about that. It could also be, what's an example of like a warlike bird? Could be like an eagle skull. Something with a beak. Could even be like if its beak was open, right? As if it were screaming. Could do, instead of like necrotic damage, it could do thunder damage if it hit, and if you use it as a bonus action to smack something. A falcon's a good idea. Yeah, okay. So let's just kind of give some bullet points here for what we're thinking. So let's say it gives 3 options to use charges. Battle Master. What is that? Mastermind? Mastermind ranged help action. Bonus action if attacking with a melee weapon. To reach out and I'll put necrotic or thunder, because I'm still kind of liking the idea of like a shrieking falcon kind of skull on the top of it. A baby rock would be interesting. I know there are blood falcons in D&D, which is pretty rad, and that would definitely fit this too. I doubt they're an SRD though. Not that would like really limit me, but it would limit me a little bit. Let's go by name. Actually, no, right here. Yeah, Bloodhawk. Here we go. Yeah, we could use a Bloodhawk. That sounds right. And put some tusks around it. Yeah, wormlings are too big for this, for sure. So I'm thinking that a Bloodhawk is like a really cool image for this. Yeah, are all wands 7 charges, Coco? Do you know off the top of your head? I could just read this thing, probably. 7 charges. Oh no. Wizards, please don't sue me for reading things that scanned from your book. Yeah, okay, 7 charges then. Alright, yeah, sure, we'll do 7 charges. That sounds great. That's an easy thing to balance. And are these all rare? Rare. Cool. Yeah, we'll do that. That sounds good. Oh, that's interesting. I like that idea, Nicholas. That might get a little bit hinky with people kind of gaming a system. Like how can I gimmick as many charges as possible out of this thing by purposefully going unconscious or dying, like for a zealot barbarian who can just kind of get revived for free. Yeah, I agree, Mike and Ike. All right. So how do you guys feel about that Bloodhawk? It's SRD, so I could specifically say that it's a Bloodhawk. I could even say this. I could even call this like, oh yeah, that's interesting. Hit dice would be interesting. Yeah, maybe like give up a hit die to get 2 charges or something. Interesting. Okay, I'll write that down. And like I said, I'm not gonna write this out in front of you, but we're just gonna kind of like rough out some ideas for like what this can be. I'll write down Bloodhawk here, and hit dice 2 charges, 7 charges. Classic crumble on 1. What was that last thing that I wanted? Oh, right. And, Shame Mace IC 1d4. Yeah. I'll put this in as like bludgeoning or piercing too, because I still don't know what this is gonna do. 1d4. Oops. Okay. Yeah, and if you guys, maybe make it punish people that try to game it that way. Yeah. I mean, it... Yeah, I don't know. I think that right now the hit die is reasonable. Max HP, interesting. Hit dice, okay. Max HP Italian. Okay. And if you guys have ideas on how to on other ideas mechanically, feel free to shout them out. Just kind of throughout the stream. I don't want to kind of like be doing this forever, you know. So let's start talking about design. We want this thing to be a rugged, primitive kind of a wand, right? So definitely something like I don't want to make it too similar to like the Wand of Fear, right? But like the Wand of Fear is very much so like the kind of aesthetic that we're going for here. So we're gonna make this a little bit rugged, call it that. And we can have yeah. We can put some tusks on this, or so I'm gonna put the skull on this right now. Kind of just like indicate that the mouth is open, like that, like the beak is open, like that. For if we decide to go for the Bloodhawk option, which I think is pretty neat. There's also we can put in like some feathers around it too. And now in order to make it like a bit more heavy metal, like a lot of these kind of, you know, hulking orcs are. Give me a sec, guys. Heroes, I have food. I'm going to turn off my camera, so you can't see me eat food because I know that it's gross. But I also don't want to pause it already. It's not time for a break, so I'm just gonna take off my camera, and we'll go from there. Ooh, splinters is a good idea, Mike and Ike. This is actually a bit of a predicament. This is a bit of a predicament because there's no way that I'm gonna be able to draw while I'm eating this. Yeah, okay. Just give me like a 5-minute break here while I shove some of this za down my face. I'm gonna be right here. If you guys want to keep on talking in chat about like what could go into this thing, please feel free to. I'll be able to type and everything. So give me a few minutes while I eat this. I haven't really eaten that much today, so I could use some calories. But I'll be right back, and I'll be here, but I'll be digitally right back. Good items, good item ideas here in the chat. Thank you for your patience. I appreciate it. I am now fed. And it was delicious. I appreciate your patience. It was super great of you. I was using the time to continue to read through what you were saying. I was also kind of going through some other kind of Google ideas about just like Googling up ideas for orcs, what we could do. And I'm thinking we could use the broken hilt of like a sword, let's say, or an axe or whatever, you know. So we'll say this. And have the cross guard kind of like broken off, you know, like looking like heckin' jank. And then and obviously like the actual blade of it is like long gone. And then at the top have a orc jaw with an orc jawbone kind of around it like this. And so the tusks would be doing something like this. There's the teethies. And could even give it some like war paint ideas. So, oh, go away, Cortana. Why are you here? So get some war paint on it. Do some kind of like neat design or something for it like that. And kind of like maybe like wrap around the jawbone with, let's say, like kind of prayer beads of teeth or something. So let's say something like this. We'll say it kind of like wraps around there, so it's kind of like jangling around as you swing it. And I think that looks like pretty notably crazy and half orky. Kind of like making the blade obviously kind of broken off in the center. I like those mechanic ideas though, Mike, about using the relentless endurance feature rather. I think actually I'll add that to the paste bin so I don't forget it. Where did I put my paste bins? Here it is. Oh, and I'll also let them do add an extra, like use the, what is it, brutal critical if they land a crit. If they're like within 30 feet of you, you can use a reaction and expend a charge and let them add another damage die. Ooh, sure, pierce the jaw. Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay, yeah. So have like the jawbone, have like the jawbone kind of like notably split, or like, you know, obviously go down farther, like that. So maybe, yeah, so have it like have the blade there, and then have the cross guard, so here, like that, and then we'll give it a pommel. How's that sitting with you guys? Something like this? Actually, I'll kind of fudge the perspective a little bit so that the tusk is a bit more centered. Like that. Again, I think that that kind of captures the broken great sword hilt, two-handed sword hilt. Cool, great. Yeah, this, and I think this kind of does a good mix of kind of like fallen allies, shaman, and kind of like wartime things, and I think that's kind of what we're looking for. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Kind of like, yeah, getting stabbed and making this with like blood magic or something. Okay, cool. Okay, so we will run with this. What I'm gonna do. I'm gonna. First thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn off this pressure sensitivity. Oh, also, guys, I'm so sorry. I always forget. Turn off my nighttime thingamajig. You guys are seeing orange, and I'm sorry. I have a program that reduces blue light. Sorry about that. Yeah, sure. Yeah. So we have this kind of like prayer bead, tooth dangly thing. We could also totally put in some feathers in there too, for sure. Yeah, flux, exactly. Yep. Flux is great. Been using it for years. Okay, so we're gonna start to put in a kind of a hilt here, crossguard rather. And because that one's on the farther side, we don't have to show as much detail. But for this one, we'll show that it is unmistakably broken. Because we're not using these layers here, I'll remove them too. Is the volume okay? Is my audio all right? And music too loud? How are things sounding? Let me know. It's a little bit hard. It's a little bit hard to know because my volume is probably gonna be different than yours. Okay. So because this was a handle at one point for a sword, it's gonna have some kind of wrapping to it, and we can make that look pretty rugged, like pretty like too worn, stained, and oiled and gross. Okay, thanks guys. Thank you, Earl and Mike. So what we'll do here, and if you've watched me do this before, same trick as I usually use for this. Got a bubble in my throat. Grab, we'll say this. How's this color? That's fine. We can make that look stained or something too. I'm just gonna do a kind of a quick blanket coat here, like that. Turn on overlay for my blush, for my brushes. Brush mode. That. Like that. And so that's gonna kind of already start to make some of these overlaps that I'm looking for in the wrap. Like that. So I'm just kind of going through, adding in lights and darks in here. So what's going on right now is on Discord is the third and I think final playtest for the Dandelion encounter. So if you've been waiting for the Dandelion encounter, it's been getting worked on, it's been getting play tested and adjusted, and so I think that we're right at that end. So you should be expecting it like really soon. I'm working really hard on it. I hope you enjoy it. So you can see here we had this kind of like ragged looking kind of wrap. Um, Mike, Mike and Ike, were you in the first or second playtest? I can't remember. Because it has changed between them all in one way or another. You're in the second? I think that most of the changes that were added in the second one were just kind of like rebalancing some of the damage of, oh, right, okay. Yeah, rebalancing a little bit of the damage, and hit point values. We also did some standardization here and there for, well, you know how it happens. I'm not going to spoil anything. But from what I was catching, I was listening to it before I got on, before I started streaming. It's sounding pretty good. So what I'm doing here is I'm masking. I'm not erasing. So actually, if I wanted to, I could put all those back in, those kind of divots back in. Masking basically just tells Photoshop, hey, don't display this thing, or like don't display this bit right here that I'm drawing. And you can actually see this masking layer here by alt-clicking on this kind of like little spot next to it. And you can see that everything that's black here doesn't get shown. Everything that's white does. So I'm actually using my eraser right now to do that. And the reason I'm doing that is because my brush already has a specific kind of blending mode on it and colors, and I don't want to have to like continuously adjust it every single time or like change it from one thing to another to work on the mask. Yep, yeah, we're working on the wand, Dom. It came down to a coin flip because some people are mad human beings, as in bonkers, as in crazy, and did their very best to make it come down to a roll-off. Well, if you wind up using it, Mike, make sure to let us know on the Discord. I love reading those stories. It's like one of my favorite things, for sure. Okay, so we have these kind of like little indications of where the grip kind of wraps around. So we'll double back and we'll make sure that looks like super tight later. In the meantime, we can make, oh, you know, let's make this iron and we'll rust it. That'll look really cool. So let's do that. Also here, if you didn't notice, there's a little lock icon on the top right next to this layer. And what that's telling me is that it's pixel locked, or at least that's what I call it, at least. And that means that, so there are these existing pixels already here on this layer. If I draw over it, I'm never gonna go beyond those boundaries. It is always gonna stick to like what's already been drawn. So I can't add or remove existing pixels, which is really helpful because if I turn that off, I can start kind of going everywhere and things get really messy real quick. So let's start making this, like I said, we're gonna make this look like rusted metal. We're just gonna start lighten it up a little bit, make it more like a metal. This and the light seems to be kind of coming from the far side above it. So we'll kind of continue with that trend. Have it here. Oh, Mike, do you mean Eye of Dandelion? Oh my god. that item gets so much attention, and I think it's very funny. That is like that item is like has like such a story with me. It's very interesting to hear how much use it gets. That one post on the subreddit like months ago was so cool. Like when somebody made a prop for it, that just warmed my heart to bitses, you know. Okay, so we've got we're working on this cross guard here. And we're kind of showing some dimension. I'm just gonna paint over this tusk. It's not doing anything for us right now. We'll put the jawbone in it and like on like a separate layer or something, so we can really get wild with it and move it around and make sure it's looking how you want. But right now, we don't need that. All right. What's the Stone of Golor? Is that an item from a mod, like yeah, from a module? I am not, or like a campaign. I am not familiar with that. Yeah, okay. I have spent 0 time in Waterdeep. Okay, so here's the blade. Kind of coming in here. We'll kind of give this a bit of like a central seam here, like a crease, I guess. Like that. I'm excited that the coin flip decided to make the wand, because it's been bugging me that I don't really have any. And now that you guys have access to the looter's table, it is now incredibly obvious that there is exactly one wand, which seems like a travesty, right? So I'm glad to be able to start fixing that. Like, I've recently been trying really hard to make more stabs and everything too, just for the same reason, because there weren't enough. Weapons are so much fun for me, and I really enjoy making them. And I historically play clerics and other and other kind of typically melee characters. Never a fighter, funny enough. I really enjoy Gish characters, honestly, or like silly multi-class builds. It's a stone that has spoilers attached to it. Oh my gosh, really? They'll die if they do? That's funny. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, Staff of 4 Seasons is another classic. I really like that one. That's a good one. That was back in January when I had I was still kind of figuring out some of the Patreon tiers. That was a reward for the now ascended heroes rewards. All right, so we're working on this kind of blade here, and like I said, we'll go through and we'll make a separate layer for this kind of jawbone. So we can kind of like really kind of finagle it around and make sure that it looks right. Interesting. Oh, okay. Yeah, sure. I'll take a look at the item. I've got I have a fully paid for, like a full access D&D Beyond account, because some very generous patrons and friends. Because Lord knows, I don't really care for D&D Beyond that much, so I wouldn't have them on my own. Okay. So let's go ahead. We'll pixel lock this again. I undid it so I could erase those edges there. Oh, also, we should save this. We'll just call this Warmind's Wand, or Warmind Wand right now. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Mike, I feel the same way. I think, like, and I did the same thing, which is why I really really dislike their business practice. I think there were many more ways that they could have handled it. Like they talk a big game about wanting you to go to your local bookstore, like your local game shop, but they didn't do anything to kind of incentivize it, and that was like such a ripe opportunity for them to do so. Like, come and get your book validated to get it unlocked on D&D Beyond. Like, I would have been all over that. I would have been all over that. Nope. And I'm still kind of bitter about it, as you can tell. Oh, Zap. Yeah, okay. So we are making this. This wand is out of like the kind of broken and destroyed hilt of a sword that is piercing the jawbone of a fallen orc, and it has these kind of shaman prayer tooth beads or something wrapped around them, and it's gonna have some feathers on it too, and some war paint on the hilt as well. It's a friendship bracelet. Yeah. All right. Just kind of making a nice crispy edge here. Well, so we're gonna be turning this kind of black area, like that black line that I made, into kind of a shadow on it, which is why I used black there. It might not be an orc sword. It could have been literally anything. There's like a broken sword that stabbed, or like is holding on to, I guess we'll say, an orc jaw. Oh, hey, Eltico. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for joining in. This is great. Glad to have you. So we're working on an item that was voted on by the elite heroes. You might have as well. It was a tie between the plated mantle of Grumsh and a wand, and it came down to a coin flip. And so we're going with the wand, based on said coin flip. Oh, El Taco, Griffon, you can read. El Taco, Jesus. My favorite class is cleric. I'm always cleric if I can. Like, I really like how versatile they are. I really enjoy being like, I don't know. I tend to kind of play support, or not even support, but like protector classes anyway in games as it is. And cleric kind of scratches that itch. I'd play paladin if I didn't. Just because I really like having 2 attacks per turn. Yeah, clerics, man, they're my favorite. I love them. My first character was a bard though, and that was pretty fun. right, so we're working on this kind of sort here. We can see that that's fairly well centered. It's a little bit off kilter. So we're just gonna move it real easy. Like this. That. Bring it down a layer. Kind of shunt it over like this. There we go. And like I said, we're gonna be applying that the jawbone to another layer, so it's fine that it looks like that right now. And actually, before we do that, I'm gonna use while we have it here. So right now the sword is on a layer below everything else, like the blade. So hello. Oh, that's fine. So I'm gonna use the opportunity to kind of like put a bit of a shadow on it, like that. Since it's not gonna be interacting with anything above it, because the layers are stacked that way. Hey, welcome back, Merc. Merc, did you win? Did you lose? What happened? No spoilers. But did you win or lose? You won? Cool. Was it exhilarating? Was it a good play test? Yeah. People, good. I'm glad you guys liked it. Oh, that's awesome. Good. Dying once, that's great. That's great. That's great. That is exactly the right thing. Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Glad to hear it. Oops. Let's pixel lock this again. So we're going to be kind of showing here that the wand, like that the cross guard here is snapped or something like that. Like that. And let's add to the mask again. That. Cool. Yes. Yeah, that's what Kyle was saying too about paladins. Good. Okay, good. I'm sure I'll talk to him later about it. Actually, he might have already messaged me. I've got some Discord notifications. Yeah. Now, as soon as it's, yeah, you know what I'll do? Yeah, damn, I'll do that. I'll make sure that you guys can all see the same channels. Actually, let me 1 minute, chat. Heroes. Let me do this real quick. Permissions. Adding. Dandelion playtest 2. Dandelion playtest 3. Good. Discord moderation. Discord moderation. And cool. Save. I think that should do it. Mostly. Need to do a quick couple things here. That, and this. I think that'll do it. You. Great. All right. All right, so everybody who's in the Dandelion playtest should be able to see the same kind of secrets channels. Let me also make shared Dendy experiences. Great. Okay, that should do it. Can you guys see that? The shared Dendy experiences thing? You should be able to. Good, good. All right, back to this thing. Let me know. Let me guys know if you can't see that channel. And thank you everybody who is patient. And let me do that real quick. Good. All 4 rooms good. Okay, so back to this. We are working on that. Neat. So right now this is looking pretty desaturated. And like it doesn't have a whole lot of kind of contrast to it. So real quick, just before we go any further with it, we're gonna hit it with a layers or with a levels adjustment layer. And we're going to be using that to kind of play with contrast and like how white the whites are, how bright the brights are, and how dark the darks are. And so you can kind of see before and after like that. It really punches it up. And we'll just kind of merge that. Don't want to have to work with it. Homebrew classes. You know, I've never really played one. I've only played in a handful of games, like a very small handful of games. And I've always been like pretty standard in them. So I don't have any favorite like that. I really enjoy reading like subclasses on like the Unearthed Arcana subreddit. I have a few that I'm proud of that I made. But yeah, I don't have anything that really speaks out or kind of like jumps out at me. I have a what's it called? I have a Blood Hunter in my home game, and I think that Blood Hunter is honestly, I think that Blood Hunter is a good dip, like a good like 5-level dip. But that's about it. I would love to go Blood Hunter Cleric, actually. Like Blood Hunter Storm Cleric, I think, or Tempest Cleric would be really good because you can use like Rite of the Storm or whatever, and get a lot of that lightning damage for free, which can proc all that Tempest stuff. That's cool. Sure, yeah, I'll check them out, Merc. But yeah, I don't get to play often enough in order to like really investigate classes that much, and I have a hard time like it is hard for me to feel compelled to read an entire class from start to finish if it's not official material. Just because it's a lot to take in, and a lot of times they're a little overly designed. Which is why I enjoy reading subclasses to like existing classes, because I already know the core mechanics of them for the most part. And kind of go from there. So here on the bottom, where the hilt or where the crossguard meets the handle and the grip, we're gonna be grabbing some of the same browns from the grip and applying them here, because when you see color, you're seeing light that kind of bounces back to you. And the same thing happens if light bounces off of a thing and doesn't hit your eye. So that means that the light that bounces off this that doesn't hit your eye can hit the underside of this kind of crossguard and cast that kind of brown haze on it. So that's what we're doing there. Yeah, I admittedly don't really know anything about wall rock, so I'll take a look. I've mentioned before that Genuine Believer and I have a pretty good friendship, so I'm or at least, yeah, a very solid acquaintanceship, I guess. Not really sure what he would call it, but And so I know more of his subclasses than most others. I feel as though I have seen an archaeologist rogue subclass though that I remember reading and was impressed by. So maybe I've seen that one. For the pommel here, we'll grab the same grays that we're using for the blade. Actually, no, for the cross guard. Fill it in right there. Get some darks. Grab the lights. Like that. And same thing as before, we're gonna tidy up the bottom of this a little bit too. Danny's watching Gilmore Girls in the other room, and we both watched it through before, so I'm like I'm imagining the scene that's happening right now when I'm hearing the dialogue. So we're gonna go through. We're just gonna kind of tidy this up a little bit. So by using various blending modes when we paint, like earlier I was using an overlay blend mode while painting, adding in color. That gives us some like really nice kind of like naturally occurring colors that kind of pop up, and we can use those throughout the rest of the drawing. It is a very easy and convenient way to generate a bunch of different colors that you might not otherwise have missed entirely. It's looking pretty good up there. Let's move to this one. All right. And let's fix up this a little bit. All right, so this is looking pretty neat. We can actually go ahead and we can start putting in the jawbone now. Actually, let's give a little bit of texture to this guy down here because he's looking pretty sad by himself, which is like a silly little round thing. So we'll kind of give him like a bit of, what's the word? Like a ridged kind of thing. Like that. And I'm making this happen by using the overlay brush mode up here in the top left, if you caught that. Overlay is so good, both as a layer blending mode, but also as a brush blending mode. Get a lot of happy accidents that way. As a Bob Rossism. Chipped or cracked is good, yeah. That's awesome, Dom. I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, so I'll totally put like I'll put like some cracks in this, or yeah, I'll definitely what's it called? Oh, there's a word for it. I'll degrade it. I know that's not the right word, but I'll yeah. Dang, brain is not functioning. Yeah, so I'll kind of put like a almost like a slash in it or something. that. Max, we're making a wand. We're making the wand. Ding it up. No, cause so when I was a designer as my career before all of this happened, we'd use this term to like rough up typography or images to make it look more authentic or that kind of thing. It's man. I'm really annoyed that I can't remember this word. I'm grabbing my eraser tool here. Gonna put like a little bit of a nip on the bottom here, and gonna turn the pixel lock back on. What is that word? It definitely starts with a D. Distress. Thank you, Dom. Yes, that's the one. Man, it's really hard. I already have a hard enough time with words as it is, but when you have to kind of split your attention between several different things at once, at least for me, I start operating, at least for now until I get more practice, right? My brain operates definitely at a lower velocity, put it that way. Okay. And so what I'll do here also, on the sides here, so we can kind of see what we're talking about, I'll make them a little bit less perfect round, especially like right here where it got cut. There. Neat. And grab a little more, do some bit more lighting on this. Excuse me. Some shadow down there. Extra lighting. There we go. Hey, Logic. Glad to see you, buddy. Glad to hear that, Max. Thank you. Glad to be able to do this too. This is a lot of fun too. I enjoy doing this and hanging out with you guys. And like it's always so stressful like watching the items get voted on or get directed like in theme, because the votes are so close. It's been 3 weeks of like nail biters. It's crazy. This week specifically because there was intention to do so. by some chaotic neutrals out there. No way. I just heard. Who dat? Who did that thing? That's so nice, whoever you are. Hang on. Who did the thing? Mike and Ike. Yo, thank you so much for the 5 doll hairs in single cent. That's so nice. I appreciate that, Mike. That is so nice of you. Really appreciate that. I am low-key proud of that animation that I made too for that. I think it turned out really well. I am by no means an animator, so that was like a fun frame animation to draw and make. So like part of the reward for me is like your donation is incredibly generous and thank you for it. But I also just kind of like seeing it go up. It's just fun. Okay, so we'll come back. We're gonna be adding some like metal textures to these bits too, towards the end. Same thing with like a fabric texture on the wand or on the guard or grip. And actually at the very end, after we add all these textures, we're gonna shrink it a little bit too, so it looks even like more tight and crisp. So in the meantime, what we're gonna do, I'm gonna save. I'm gonna create that second layer, and we're gonna start working on this jaw, like we talked about. Actually, first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually grab kind of loosely where it is. This. There we go. All right, grab that, and I'll fill that in as needed. There we go. Okay, so now we have this kind of jaw layer to work with. I'll name it jaw. Well, I mean, like, especially because it's just the nature of this stream. Like, you can only be here if you're a patron, right? Like, that's like, or given the link for very specific reasons, and it's different every week, right? So it's it is the definition of extra because you're already supporting me. So it's just incredibly generous. Thank you for that. Okay, so we're kind of getting to the bit that's getting pierced by the sword here. It looks very uncomfortable. You can kind of start pulling this up a bit like that too. All right. Man, that tusk is not right. Okay, so let's see if it's facing that way. This one's gonna actually be facing a little bit outward, which is fine. In this case, it's gonna be a little symmetrical. No. Mike, thank you. That's so nice. Oh my gosh. Man. Thank you. Okay, so just based on perspective, actually, this tusk here is actually going to be. You're not going to really see it curve much. It's because it's coming more towards. It's coming towards you. So the point of it is going to be like basically there or something, kind of like curving towards you like that. There we go. Hey Griff, have you ever drawn a orcish jawbone? Hundreds of times. He lied. So we're gonna kind of see how this goes. Now, presumably, like, they don't have only canines or anything like that. Nothing weird. So, doing something like this. Tiefers right in there. It is out of an orc logic, yeah. A fallen comrade or powerful raid leader turned into a magic wand to command and rally his forces. Wait, Mike, you get paid on a Wednesday? That's a weird day to get paid on. Well, it's not so much like it's not like a trophy. It's like a commemorative thing. Like, I don't know. Is there a reason why I shouldn't include the, like, should it not be the jawbone of an orc? I could just make it a regular jawbone. Or it could have been from like an opposing raid party or something like that too. That's always an option. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think with what you're saying, Mike. Yeah, like who did this belong to? Yeah, opposing warbands, that kind of thing. Like I'm gonna make your face into a wand. I'm gonna jamming it on his own like weapon. Ooh, that's metal. Like kill. Yeah, you defeat an opposing warband. You take the the raid leader's weapon, jam their jawbone on it, and you get it enchanted to control and bolster your own allies. That's metal. I spend very little time playing or reading like official Wizards lore. And maybe I should. Like maybe I should like read some of the books or something. Like I have all these supplements too with all those like kind of crazy extra lore in there and like extra intricacies of races. I just haven't really felt the need for it. I mean, needless to say, I run a homebrew campaign for my own games. If that wasn't already painfully obvious. Yeah. And that is very weird. 2:30 a.m. on Wednesdays? That's a weird time to get paid. Codex, I run a game on Tuesday evenings with 5 players, and I'm very fortunate that I have the players that I do. They are awesome. Some are first timers and they're so involved and they just really give it everything. I'm so proud of them. I'm very fortunate. Yeah, I really like Tuesday D&D days, because it's like nobody likes to do things on Mondays, and Tuesday, like a Tuesday evening, just kind of like leads you right into that Wednesday middle of the week bit, and then you just kind of like, you know, smooth sailing until Friday or something. I don't know. It's a nice little pick me up. Like really early in the week. It's a lot of fun. I always feel like really invigorated after a session. Okay, so now we have this kind of like basic or kind of like form on like where the teeth are gonna go for this guy. I'm gonna go back over to my overlay brush mode here, and we're gonna be kind of just painting in some lights and darks, or creating some lights and darks like this. What's AL, Max? Adventure League. I got it. Campaigns on Saturdays too. Man. That's awesome, Codex. Thank you. I love hearing that, you know, these items get used. That is like, what's the point of items if they don't get used, right? Like I know so little about Adventure League, so it doesn't, I don't think about it that much, right? So yeah, definitely not the first thing on my brain when I see an acronym, but I should, honestly. Oh, is that so, Mike? Is that so, Mike? In my previous game, a game that I was playing and not running, the campaign eventually just kind of like fizzled because we played it just kind of like around our schedules, like saying, hey, like what day works for us next, and that just eventually kind of just it led to the breakthrough, you know, just to breaking apart. So when I was scheduling for this, I said from the start, we are meeting every week unless something happens and we need to delay, but we meet on Tuesdays. End of story. Well, actually, it wasn't actually on Tuesdays. I put up I made like a doodle, I think it's called, right? To kind of find the right, in like a pool, I had like 8 people that were interested, and the day that worked for the most of them for like a full party was Tuesday, so we went with Tuesdays. And I said, we are meeting every single Tuesday. That's what we're doing. And we've been going on for a year and a half now, and it's awesome. Now, like, our games are generally like 2.5 hours, maybe. Now they actually used to go longer, or I guess we used to start sooner. But as we became better friends, we started just like taking longer dinners when they came over, and hanging out more and just being a bit more chummy. So now we get started later, but it's fine because the party dynamic has improved as the players get more close to each other. Oh, that's right, Max. Yeah, you were talking about that. Hope you have fun with that. Like, it already feels pretty cool to take down an enemy, but now you get like rewarded for it a bit more mechanically, so that'll be interesting. Oh man, Codex, I didn't know they actually like that you were finding specific songs for it to play. That sounds like work. Just kind of continuing to work on this jawbone. Teeth and things like this are a little repetitive and a little bit of a guess and check kind of thing. You also don't want to show too much detail because otherwise it'll really bring out like what's wrong with it. So in some cases, like it's a bit of less is more. Because if you give the indication of something, your brain will fill in the rest. Now I need to show enough detail, like especially in the ones that are closer to you and in the tusks, because that's where I want your attention to be. But like in the ones in the side, probably like in the molars, I can let them be a little more loose. Oops. I'll check that later. Do you find recordings or something for it, Codex? And then you just like play them. If they say like, hey, I'm putting in this rum, what does it play? And you have like a playlist or something. I can imagine if you had like a good singing voice, or like were a musical person by nature, you just sing it out. Pretty wild. See, I never used Roll20. I've always played in person. At least for like kind of lasting campaigns. Like I'll do one shots online, but I have never actually. I played in a very short campaign. It was just like a single little story arc online, and yeah, you just lose so much magic. I don't know. I feel playing in person is what makes it fun, if you ask me. Oh, welcome, Jericho. Always good to see you. Also, welcome back from your crazy cool vacation. I hope that your food journey was good. If there are pictures to be shared, feel free to do so in the Discord. I'm curious. You had me excited about it last week. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I get that, Codex. Really, Fantasy Grounds. Okay, that's interesting. I think that is a less popular opinion, Alanisha. But I'm curious to hear why you think that, or like why you chose Fantasy Grounds over Roll20. I mean, like I said, I don't use either, so I have absolutely no preference. I'm genuinely just curious. Max, who do you support on Patreon for maps? Oh my gosh, Don, have you? Oh, dude, you've got to play local. There is like physical or like tangible magic playing in person. It is. You're never gonna want to play online again. It feels so stale by comparison. It just gets electric in person. It's so much better. Well, Max, I think that, well, yeah, if you don't already support Che and Peiku, you should. Just saying. No reason or anything. Oh my gosh, Cody, I didn't even hear your tip go through. Dude. Thank you so much. I'm so mad I didn't hear the thing. Did it play? Hang on, I'm just gonna do it again. Hit the button. Why is it not going through? Do the thing. Okay, well, if it doesn't play, we'll give it a few more minutes. That should have played. My gosh, you guys are so chatty. I love it. Chatty, chatty, chatty. All about it. Oh, my screen's starting to go orange again. Fix that for you guys. Oh my gosh, Dom. That's so upsetting. Yeah, Che and Pegu are awesome. Okay, you saw it? Okay, I didn't see it on my end, so I'm glad that you did. Huh? That's good. I'm glad to hear that, Jericho. Despite the budget. That's so upsetting, Dom and Elenisha. Like, you have to... You lose like such like an interactive human element to the game if you don't have video on or something. Oh my gosh. That's so sad. That's awesome. I love seeing other D&D creators get supported on Patreon. That's really great. But yeah, I bring up Che and Peiku just just cause. You might see something fun with that coming up soon. Yeah, I get that, Dom. I'm like a very animated dungeon master. Like I get up and I act things out because words can only do so much. See, I don't know what I would do if I couldn't do that, you know? Like I would be hopeless. Maybe, Max. I haven't seen Homebrew Inn. Thank you. I will look into. Actually, I'm gonna pull it up my browser right now just for fun. Awesome. There really aren't that many like other item creators out there. Very cool, man. Thanks for sharing that. I might have seen some of their... Nah, I don't think I've seen these. I like these designs though. Like how they're kind of presenting it. That's really neat. Okay. So over here, I kind of like, there's like a bit of like a cooling color down here. What's going on? Like with that shadow, I'm gonna kind of amplify that. So I'm switching my brush mode to multiply, and I'm just kind of grabbing a blue brush here, and I'm just gently painting on here. And multiply is gonna help me make a shadow, because it takes the dark, it takes the darkness from the color that I'm adding, and it just kind of like drops it on top. Similar over here too. And on the inside over here. Well, actually, I really like the idea. I like some red over here instead. So you can see how that's going to start getting some color in there. A lot of times Bone has like reds, greens, and blues in it. So it's this kind of like weird tan mix of, you know, Roy G. Biv. So you can see how that's starting to look right now. Bones are always tricky. And it really just requires some guessing checking, I suppose. Unless you have an actual orc skull next to you. And if any of you do, I would love to use it as a reference. If you can mail it or fax it to me real quick. Use that on stream. Yeah, you're a 17.02, actually, Mike. All right, Codex. Thanks for hanging out, man. Hope to see you back. If I'm, I'll probably be streaming by the time you get back. So I'm gonna be writing up the mechanics for this tomorrow, and putting it up on Patreon. And then once it goes through the traditional balancing process and all that, you'll see it up on Patreon as an official item on Tuesday, kind of like what you saw with the Shaden staff on Tuesday. Yesterday, rather. Max, that's what I'm doing too. Well, I mean, my main display is a TV over yonder. Ooh, missing teeth. Good thinking. Yes, let me do that. I'll remove this one. That's at a good spot for it. Actually, I'm just gonna erase it. That's fine. Like that. And the rest won't need to get the shape adjusted. I'll just like remove this one, for example. I'll kind of, I think there'd be like holes or something there. Yeah. Oh, for sure. Oh yeah, we didn't put any we haven't put on the war paint yet. We will do that. Nobody let me forget. Somebody remind me to put on the war paint too. Before we finish. Excuse me. So coffee. Okay. Sometimes I feel a little bit weird that I'm just kind of like here drawing and chatting. It's not hyper exciting. Like if I were like some pro stremmer playing a game or something, you know. So thanks for hanging out, like, you know, watching and chatting, talking about items and fantasy nonsense in D&D. Oh, cool, Jericho. Mirror Light Edge. I'm proud of that item. Battleman Shortbow's cool too. I like that one. Oh, that's not that. Thank you, Elenisha. That's really nice. I appreciate that. Glad that I can kind of just like hang out and work on D&D stuff with you. Oh, sure, 2 inches to the other side. I'm gonna mask that in case we change our mind. Yeah, we'll just do it that way. If I mask stuff, I can unmask it later, but if I erase it, I have to redraw it. So sometimes for things like that, where it's a bit more major, it's safer to mask it. Okay. Actually, I'm gonna pull up some orc skulls too, just to make sure. Oh, okay. Okay, so they don't have teeth right above the tusks, and the tusks are more like instead of teeth. So we'll just adjust that real quick. That's easy. Here we go. Jericho, I cleaned up the wording for the Mirror Light Edge actually, as I've been working on getting these cards out to the deck of many. So I'll try to remember to let you know when I update all the wordings on Patreon. Like the first 100 items got like a lot more wording changes than the second 100, just because I'm a better writer for 5e, now. And balancer. So mostly it was just kind of a clarification on exactly how it worked, because I know that it was confusing to some people. Oh yeah, Dom, this was yours, wasn't it? Yeah, you suggested this, and I thought it was a really good item. Really good idea. Okay. So that looks about more correct for the amount of teeth they have up front. A little bit less space in between them. Kind of fudge it a little bit, like that. There's some kind of like nice accidental detail that's happening in there. Kind of accentuated with some pure whites. A really thin stroke, kind of give the idea some ridges in there. this. Oh man, finishing up this jaw. This jaw is taking some time. But I mean, especially with anything humanoid. Same thing with armor too. Like, if it's not right, you know, your eye is very aware of what is right and wrong with something humanoid, which is like one of the reasons why the uncanny valley exists, you know, in animation and in modeling and stuff. Same thing everywhere else. Things just don't look right, and you can't always put your finger on what it is if you don't know what you're looking for. But you know that whatever this thing is, it ain't right. So, just trying to do my best here, trying to make this make-believe jawbone more believable. I really like the kind of like the reds and the reds and the bluish darks over here. I'm really liking what's going on with those two. All right, and here's our point up here. This thing's kind of coming towards us. Actually, I think it would actually be, it's not quite up at us. It's a little bit out here. It's like that. There we go. Yeah, Sato or Jericho, you have a penchant for making some, or for suggesting some really clever items. Yeah, Dom, if you've Mike, if you've put the whisper things in the suggestions channel, I haven't seen it yet, because I haven't gone through the suggestions since I stickied the last batch. But I promise that I will go through every single one that has been posted on that Saddlebag suggestions channel. Just adjusting some of the perspective here on these teeth. There we go. Same thing over here, just kind of adding in some bit of like roughing texture, just kind of like showing some unevenness to the teeth. Okay. Not quite ready, but almost there. I'm just gonna zoom back out for that, just so I'll have an easier time. I'm gonna switch to using an overlay brush. Just to kind of make them a little bit lighter, a little bit darker, more easily. Let him to find a good color and painting it on top. Oh, okay. Oh, Dom, is that when you were on that gin and tonic bit? That was a lot of fun. Yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun. Making those, I'm definitely intrigued. What time is it? How are we doing? 9:44. Okay. All right, so we're looking pretty good, like for time right now, like for time versus completion. Let's go ahead. We're gonna save. I'm gonna fill in this kind of missing bit here for the sword. Like that. And I'm remembering the war paint, and I'm remembering that we're going to make this thing rusted. A little rusted. And I'll put some scratches on it too. And because the tusk here is covering up the broken off bit of the guard, I'm just gonna scooch it like that. And then I'll fill in the difference. Like that. Cool. About those potions, that's neat. I'm excited about reading them. One too many. Oh, they all have like a similar side effect, kind of like this, like the sugar bombs upset stomach. That's cool. All right, so this thing is looking pretty good. I'm gonna put the. Actually, I'm gonna take off the pixel lock again real quick because I just saw this little bugger here. And over here, because that is a edge, that would need to go down. There we go. Okay, so I'm gonna put back on the pixel lock. I'm gonna put on overlay real quick. And we're just gonna make some shadows kind of like at the very base here where it's interacting or intersecting with the sword. Then we're gonna do the same thing on the sword too. Yeah, I'm looking at, okay, so Mike, I'm looking at some oh, I see the ones that you're seeing. Okay. From the ones that I was looking at, they were a bit more uniform. But yeah, there's a bunch of different options here. Some of them are more kind of like crazy and gnarled. Others are a bit more human. I'm seeing some of each. Some are more pointed, whereas others, actually I'll make the ones up front a bit more pointed. And actually, if I make them like semi-pointed, I could probably showcase some of them, like some of them being kind of more beaten up than others. The points are always really tricky with this angle. Undo all that nonsense. Nah, I don't want to lose that. Those things look pretty good. What I could do though, actually, let's do this. Let me just kind of like rotate some of them so they look as though they just really need braces. Oh, sure, yeah, I get that, Mike. Yeah, but here, actually, I think just rotating these a little bit would help too. Like that. Let me just kind of fill in the gaps here. go. And same thing over here on the sides too. Kind of rotate them a little bit like that. Obviously over this side it's a bit more jank. Okay, so actually because it is so, we need to make it more obviously give it more obviously of like a top and a side, especially over here on this far edge where it's kind of. Also, thank you to the 12 viewers that I'm seeing in chat. Thanks for hanging out. Glad to have you. Okay. Oh yeah, for sure, Mike. Yeah, I think that kind of like rotating them and giving them some bad dental work is helpful. Let's give this one a bit more attention here. Okay. All right, and now let's go back over here to the bottom, to the lower level. We're gonna make a layer mask on top of it. Not a layer mask, but yeah, a clipping mask on top of it. And we're gonna just use a black brush here to draw the shadow from the jawbone directly on top of it. And then we're actually gonna go over it again. We're gonna lock that layer. We're gonna pixel lock that layer, and we're gonna turn our brush mode onto overlay. Overlay is fine, and we're just gonna kind of go over it. That did not do what I wanted to do. Scratch that. We're just gonna go through. It's still a multiply. The layer itself is a multiply. So when we paint over it with the jawbone color, oops, it takes that same brown and it turns it turns the dark reflected light from the jawbone and makes it into a shadow, which is what we want. We want this kind of brown from the jawbone to make a shadow here, because shadows aren't just black. They are colors from nearby it. Same thing over here too in the back. That. Oops. Yeah, Nick, we're happy to have you. Thanks for being here. I really enjoy seeing people talking and getting to meet each other. Not everybody spends time in Discord. So being able to have people get to meet and hang out with each other like on a regular basis on stream is awesome. I really try to always respond to comments on Reddit or Instagram, that kind of thing, and Patreon too. But I definitely spend the most time with people on Discord just because that's just kind of where I live digitally, I suppose. Oh, hey, no worries, Logic. Okay, so we're gonna. So right now there isn't really much of a difference in color between the guard and the sword or the blade. So I'm actually gonna try to fix that. I think I want the blade to be a bit. I'm gonna say lighter. Actually, is that the right color? Yeah, I want the blade to be a little bit lighter. There we go. And because they're on different layers, you can be pretty messy about that selection once you get what you want. And I'm gonna go over here, back up to overlay again. Lightly kind of brush that on top. And now because applying that white brush to it would have damaged some of our contrast in there. Put it back in. That's a little bit too light, I think. There we go. That's looking good. That's looking better. Now I'm actually just going to invert that selection so I can get to that. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. And actually here, let's invert it again so we just get the sword again. And I'm going to hit it with a bit of a green. So it's like it's not like adamantine or anything like that, but just metal having a sheen or having like a very, very faint color. Actually, maybe like a dark blue would be fine too. Maybe with multiply, maybe soft color. Yeah. Should it be blue or should it be green? Yeah, green. Oh man, Mike, I've never really gotten much into Court of Swords. JP's fine, I guess, but I don't know, the dynamic never really stuck with me, and I don't know. I feel as though the DM is, I don't know. He's not for me. More power to you though. I enjoy watching Matt Colville whenever he goes live on Twitch, just kind of talking to people. I really enjoy those streams, even though I don't say anything or anything. It's just kind of nice. It's fun. Okay. Oh, right. Wanted to put the shadows on here, and need to erase these little bits. All right. Hey, Dom. Thanks for hanging out. Hope your kids went to sleep okay. Always glad to see you here. See you on Discord soon. Let's make another layer here, another mask, another layer clipping mask rather. Real quick, we're just gonna add in these shadows from here. Again, we're not just gonna use pure black. We're gonna be using the browns from the jawbone here and here. That great. Okay, so we're looking pretty good here. Oh, right, we wanted to put in the prayer beads. Okay, let me do that. Actually, before we do that, let me put in the war paint just before I forget. That's gonna be over here. We're just gonna make a separate layer for it. And the war paint for it, we'll make it Roomsh-esque. So maybe like put just like a very crude drawing of like an eye on here, for example. Give it like some kind of splats. Interesting. Yeah, okay. I'll give it a shot, Mike. Or yeah, I'll give it a shot. Okay, so going through here, kind of trying to make this look a little bit blobby. And we can also, oh, you know what we can do? Okay, we'll turn this on to color, and that'll do the trick. And then I can make any like kind of glistening effects on it, on like a separate layer here. Quest and Chaos, I haven't heard of them. Interesting. That's interesting, Mike. Okay. I'll I like what you're saying about Quest and Chaos, so I'll take a look at that. I'm curious about it. Yeah, interesting. Also what you were saying about not using kind of combat XP for quarter swords sounds kind of like how I more like how I run my games. Yeah. Part of the reason why I run my games that way is because I'm a lazy dungeon master and I don't want to have to keep track. Not lazy. I am just very preoccupied. So I don't want to have to keep track of all that stuff. There we go. So we just do milestones. Now for extra war paint on here, we'll just kind of do like a splash here, like that, and like another splash. Yeah, here. Oh, chat. I forgot to feed my fish dinner. I feel terrible. I gotta go feed him after the stream is over. Okay, here we go. All right, looking good. Codex, they end when we're done. But they typically go maybe for 3 hours. So 10:30 EST, so I think they'll be able to finish this up in a half hour. Assuming nothing catastrophic happens or I don't have a really hell of a time getting this kind of prayer bead situation working. Or rust on this, come to think of it. Okay, so we're gonna make a new layer here. Color layer, gonna give it some brown. I shouldn't have a hard time finding a good brush for rust. Actually, there might even be a thing that's called rust on here. No. Okay. Rust is gonna be. Think of like what I could use for rust. We'll grab this. See how that goes. Yeah, that'll do the trick. That's fine. Like this. Let's see if something works better than color for this blending mode. Oh, okay, so that's normal. There we go. Yeah, we might just stick with overlay on that. I hate to use overlay so much, but it's so good. I think I'm actually gonna do. This is another trick too. You can sometimes color and overlay work really well together. And then you can kind of you can apply some masking to the color layer so that the overlay one doesn't get quite too intense, like that. And then just to give it a little bit of dimension, I'm going to do that. I'm just gonna make another layer here, give it white, turn it also onto overlay, just a couple. Little bits here and there, light and darker, and then we'll go back through and we'll reduce the opacity on this pretty severely. Okay, let's give it like a 10% opacity. 20, 30 is looking pretty good. So because all these, because I kind of want to treat all these as one layer, what I'm going to do, because we already have the shape of the wand pretty established, I'm just going to grab, I'm just selecting all the pixels within that layer, with control clicking it. I'm going to unclip these 3 layers. I'm going to put them into a group, and I'm going to mask the entire group so that the rust only shows within the shape of that wand. You can see here that, again, like we talked about before, everything within the white will show up. So now what I can do is I can adjust the mask for this a little bit more individually, and because I'm actually going to make 2 masks for this, so I put that group inside of another group because I can apply masks to them independently, and that's what I want to do right now. There we go. So you can see here that everything here is still clipped to this wand, but everything, and then because the group above it also has a clipping mask, everything within this mask here gets shown differently. Okay. So let's grab. I want to put a little more rust, kind of like here where the war paint is too, like that. And that's looking pretty cool. We'll do the same thing for the sword. I'm just going to call this sword rust without a T apparently. There we go. Gonna reduce the opacity on that a little bit so it's not quite so distracting. There we go. That was pretty good. And actually I'm gonna mask it a bit more. Just a wee bit. All right, great. So that's looking pretty neat. Now this is still metal, so these are going to have a bit of a sheen to it. So we can do here. We'll keep this on. We'll keep this actually. Okay. we're gonna start getting a bit crazy with grouping here. So we're gonna group all of that stuff under the wand, like in this kind of wand group. We'll name it wand, and we're gonna put a clipping mask on top of it for this kind of glow, or not glow, for this kind of sheen from the metal. That's the wrong button. Grab my standard circle brushes. Now, because the light's kind of coming in from the top here, we gotta kind of keep that in mind. So drawing this in. Like that. Oh, I think that we want to keep it without, just because we want the focus. Do we want the full on the blade? Let's see what it looks like with it, actually, real quick. It won't take long. Yeah, I think we want it. Okay. So we can add that in real quick. I might not have my terminology right, but isn't the fuller the thing that like drains blood or something? Or that acts as like a channel for it. Regardless, I think that visually it's helpful because it centers things. Oh, it's for weight. Oh. Interesting. Okay, well, so because this is a facet, this side here is going to be facing the light, so we want that side to be lighter than the other side. And we can put a nice little thin white line right there. Kind of really showcases that. Yeah, that's looking great. That was a really good suggestion. Okay. All right, so that means that really, I think the only thing we have left right now is just putting in like these kind of like prayer bead things. And that'll be fun. Okay, so let's save, make a new layer here. Actually, we have this layer that we've never used for this entire thing, right? Yeah, you've got nothing new. So we'll call these beads. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna make the actual, oh, you know what we can do? Guys, we can cheat. Let's cheat. All right, so what we're gonna do, we're not cheating. We're not cheating. We're just making our lives easier. I'm gonna turn off this transfer. We're going to go to shape and dynamics and scattering. Here too. We're gonna increase our size so you can see it. We're gonna increase the spacing. So we're making beads right now is what we're doing. Yeah, and feathers. Yeah. We're gonna have the size jitter turn on for pen pressure. Maximum is gonna be like virtually the same size because this is gonna be like kind of going forward and backward in distance. We want the stuff that's up close to be obviously larger because it's closer to us. So This way I can press more lightly on the pen as the beads go farther away, and that way I don't have to like mess with figuring out my own perspective. And that looks like about the right distance between them. I can give them a little bit of scatter, so you can kind of see on like the right hand side that they have some wavering on there, just a little bit like that. Let's see how this looks. Have them loop around there, and I'll mask out stuff. Have that kind of go behind. Same thing. Here we go. Cool. I like that. All right. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna mask this. You guys like that trick? All right. We're gonna remove these, or hide them rather. We're just masking these, since these are kind of going behind, whereas these ones are going on top. Same thing over here. Cool. And now I can go back to my normal brush. Gonna turn off my transparency, my pen pressure transparency. I'm just gonna make a layer here for the actual chord. Yeah. I'm just gonna kind of draw a line. We're connecting the dots right now, loosely. Wait a minute. Oh, I had it right. Okay. Brush. Okay, connect the dots. Wrapping up here. Now I'm thinking that these should be red. Yeah. Red, yeah, red with like a leather chain, or like with like a leather strap. Be fine. Let's put that. So we're gonna put that leather bit behind. Yeah, we're putting that behind the beads. Grabbing a brown here. What shape does that form? Hello? Interesting. Why are you behaving this way? There we go. I don't know. It was being reluctant to put that color on. Okay. Actually, I'm just gonna fill it instead of painting it. Fill with foreground color. There we go. That's easier. And so in order to kind of give this some dimension, I'm going to put on a shadow here. Put on overlay. So you can kind of see here. In theory. Hello? Oh. There we go. Okay. Everything's fine. There we go. Choke. Because it's like a very thin strap, it's just gonna be a little bit hard to show. Hard to get it right. Let's have it come up this way. Here we go. So so there's like this little dial here, and it allows us to kind of change the angle that the light's coming from. Here we go. That's good enough. And for these beads, actually, because they're all spherical, we can totally do the same thing. So we're gonna lock the pixels. We're gonna fill them with a color. We're gonna fill them with let's grab this kind of like blood red, but also kind of like a dirty one. There we go. And then we're gonna start making them look. Can we do this with a bevel and emboss? Maybe? Hang on. I haven't done this before with bevel and emboss. We'll give it a go. That's a problem. All right, that's about right. Okay, so I'm just gonna exit out of that or confirm that real quick. The problem that I ran into here is that you can tell here that these are actually not fully opaque. I feel 2 streams younger. So what we're gonna do here, we need to double up on these essentially, because when they got drawn, they didn't get drawn fully. So I moved the layer effects to this empty layer just for safekeeping. I'm gonna duplicate these just twice, combine them all, and then I'm gonna drag those layer effects back on top and get rid of this kind of empty layer now. There we go. Come on. Here we go. Alrighty. So we're just kind of putting these final touches here because I don't have to actually, paint each one of these if I don't have to, we're just gonna be doing this. And we're gonna make another one that comes from the far side over here because light's gonna kind of creep around the other side to light it up. Alrighty. All right. So this got a little bit hinky. I'm just gonna correct that real quick. Now nobody's ever gonna see this, so we don't have to be super perfect with it. All right. Now these look like really perfectly symmetrical and everything. I think I'm gonna make a copy of this real quick, of this layer. I'm gonna rasterize the effects on it. And then I'm going to, I'm actually going to hit it with something to kind of make it a little bit less perfect. I'm trying to remember what the right thing for this is going to be. I think it's going to be under artistic. So yeah, people on the internet will grimace as I use a filter for this. But if it makes you feel any better, I never use these things, so I actually don't even know what the right one for it's going to be. Maybe crystallize? Oh, also my flux is turning back on. Oh, what's going on? That's not what I want. We'll go through the ugly filter gallery. Just try to figure out exactly what we're looking at here. So that's obviously not right. No. And you know what? That's probably good enough. We'll stick with that. And then that is like it's imperfect enough where it doesn't look as though these are all like perfectly three-dimensionally made things. I draw on 300 DPI max. So I'm actually what am I gonna do here? All right, okay, I've got one more trick here that I can do here. I'm gonna go over here to filter again. We're gonna go to sharpen, or no, noise. We're gonna go to noise, reduce noise. I can do some similar effects here where I simplify things, like that. Great. Again, just cause I didn't want to have to like draw, you know, the bright and dark points on each one of these, but I also don't want them to look exactly the same. Just because that is a lot of extra work for not a tremendous amount of payoff. All right, so what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna merge those, and I'm just gonna apply it. I'm just gonna do some, a little bit of custom paints on these, just to make them even more obviously not all from the same source. Because I know, you know what I do? Whenever I look at art or something online, I always try to look for the shortcuts that people do. Just cause I don't know. It doesn't say anything about the person other than just like, oh yeah, this person knows how to budget their time. So now that we have the kind of bulk of the lighting for these things done, I can kind of go in here like rapidly, add like a little bit of lights and darks to them. Darks over on these because they're being covered by the tusk here. Okay, here we go. Almost done here. So we're pretty close to the 3-hour mark that we've been kind of following for these past few streams. And I guess if you wanted to give me a little bit extra benefit, you could say that we started a little bit late because we were talking about mechanics for a while, you know. So we're gonna finish these up here, and then we're going to switch over and work on the feathers real quick. That'll be it. That'll be a finished piece. We're gonna want to put like a couple shadows here on the jawbone too. Hey Nick, thanks for hanging out for so long. That's awesome. Yeah, yeah. Like we're almost done. So thanks for hanging out for basically the entire time, and you'll see this up on Patreon real soon. If not soon, if you're on the Discord, I'll post this to the Elite Workshop chat there. But yeah, thanks for hanging out. Really appreciate having you. those are all done. And let's add in the shadows here to the jaw. So because these are red, we're going to be using red on our shadow layer to get the reflected light looking right for these guys. Awesome. I'm glad to hear it, Ellie. I'm glad you're hanging out still. This is great. Really good turnout tonight. Glad that folks are hanging around, having a good time, chatting. This is great. Really awesome. This is where we are. All we need to do right now is just add in some feathers. And then we're done. That's it, you know? So let's figure out where we're gonna put these feathers. I think the feathers will look really good kind of here at the pommel. Kind of jutting out. So like something like that. Actually, I think that's enough too. Actually, just these little bits. Obviously, we're gonna clean them up, but like for positioning, I think that's something that looks pretty cool. So I made these kind of like feather shapes, and I'm just kind of going in and erasing a little bit along the edges to kind of give the impression of the fletching on it, I guess. Like just, yeah, like the kind of ribs from the feathers like that. Pixel lock it. What color should we make these? Actually, okay, so Logic is suggesting also like up here at the top. So just getting an idea like where it would fit. Sure, yeah. We can drop a couple in there too. I'll leave those there for right now. Okay. Let's make these, what color were these feathers gonna be? You think red too? Or like, we could make them blue. Blue I think would look good actually. Yeah. I'm thinking like some nice blues would look. Yeah, exactly. Cool. There's a bit of a delay between you and me. Go. Yeah, I did. I don't know if you caught it, but I moved these. I moved these to the bottom layer. Logic. So the white here is a little bit too intense, so we're just going to dull that down. Go. with some browns because of its adjacency or proximity to those. And then make a new layer. We're just gonna kind of do like a really loose kind of indication of this gonna just getting lashed on. Like that. Like that. And that'll do the trick. Like at a distance, that'll look fine. And those are a little bit too vibrant, just a wee bit. So I'm just gonna hit them with some color. Let's look at that. There we go. And similarly down here, we can go get a little bit of the blue from the feathers showing up here. There, down here. We actually might want to make them multiply. Maybe overlay. Actually, probably both. Yeah, there we go. And over here, these guys over here. Alrighty. Last bits. So especially because these are kind of tucked away, we're going to be able to probably reuse this one feather, just kind of distort it, so I don't have to make another one. So here, let me just grab this again. I'm gonna flip it and reverse it. Like that. And then we can actually we can warp this too, which is gonna help further sell that it's a different feather. All right. Add some shadow to the first one. Show a little bit of depth on it like that. There we go. And now for this last one here. This here. Just picking up that dark blue from the one in the back. Look at that. Lighter blues. There we go. Great. All right, and then last thing we're gonna do, we're gonna merge these two. We're gonna do the same thing we did on the other one. We're gonna apply some of the color from the grip onto it, because of their proximity to that. It's gonna be bouncing light back on it. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. Here. Oops. Here, a little bit of blues on this kind of far side, on this near side rather. The hilt. Get some blue up on the back of the guard. Going through here, adding some of these shadows. By adding these shadows here on the side, we're going to be making it look more round, which we want because it is round. And we wanted to add in the kind of lash that we had from the first one. This guy. Like that. And we're just applying like a very light black brush stroke to this. Because it's so small anyway, we don't need to show too much detail. And in fact, it's better not to. So just a very kind of like a suggestion of that is good. There you go. Save it. We're gonna put all of these 2 points. Sorry, catching up here a little bit. Maybe a small mote of fire between the 2 points of the jawbone. Maybe. So what this does, like this commands people, right? So it doesn't like channel fire or anything. It's more so just like being like a commanding shaman or leader. So I don't think so in this instance. Also, I wanted to add in here from that guy. There we go. But I think that'd be really cool though. All right. So what that leaves us is a wand here. Let's combine all that into a single group. We'll just call it wand again. Save. Yeah, what Codex is saying is right. And we're gonna duplicate it. We're gonna hide the first one, and we're gonna flatten this into a single thing. Turn into a smart object. And what smart objects do? Smart objects are great. Smart objects are amazing. Now, what a smart object does is it allows me to essentially keep everything that was in that group, or in that flattened group, in that image, even if I change the size of it. So, for example, if I didn't make that a smart object and I shrunk it to let's say like a 10 by 10 pixels, and then stretched it back out to 100% of what it used to be, it would look terrible. It would look just like a garbled mess of pixels, because when it shrunk things down, it deleted all these extra pixels. If I make it a smart object, it retains 100% of the pixels, even when I shrink it down to 10 by 10 pixels, so that I can stretch it back out to 100%, and it'll look perfect. So smart objects are really good for retaining stuff. They also allow you to make really like minute transformations, and it retains those transform properties. So I could like warp this and get like really crazy with the various like anchor points on it, and then I can go back through and like edit those anchor points again later. They're really awesome. So because we shrunk this, it's looking real tight. I'm gonna go ahead and add a color layer on top. A little bit of blue. Although to be honest, I'm probably gonna invert this and make it red. Yeah, like that. Just gonna get some colored lighting on this. Almost done. You're basically just putting on these kind of final lighting touches, which add I think like a noticeable flare. Same thing over here to the side of the jawbone, where it's kind of cooler over on this side. We're gonna make an overlay layer here. Do the same thing, just for some last lighting passes. Like that, which I think looks really nice. And you can make this white right here. Get some reflected light. Actually, here, we're gonna make that a separate layer. one more overlay layer. Like that. I want to thank you guys again for hanging out for so long tonight. 3 hours working on this. Been a lot of fun. You guys are going to see this on Reddit on Friday, as well as tomorrow on Patreon. Within this workshops post, you'll kind of see the original draft of it, but it may or may not change between now and Tuesday when it comes out as an official item. So let's save this. We're gonna put on the watercolor background. Oh, it'd be so gross, Logic. Oh man, what an idea. Oh, what a wonderful horrid idea. There we go. There we go. We're gonna shrink this a little bit. And because I said, like I said earlier, that's a smart object. If I increase the size of this a little bit, we're not going to be getting any kind of fuzzies because of it. And everything on top of it is just like a blurry lighting layer anyway, so it doesn't really matter. So that's looking pretty hot. Okay, now if you've been here before, you know that so we're going to call this the Warmind, what did it say? Warmind wand? Yeah, Warmind wand. Awesome. And we're gonna figure out the right place for it. The right place for it's actually right there. Do we rotate this a little bit? There we go. And then at the very top of this, I tend to put a bit of a darker edge to it on one side or the other. Okay, safe. And that's it. Guys, we made an item. We made an item. Thank you so much for hanging out. I'm gonna post this to the Discord right now, so if you're on the Discord, you'll see this coming up in a couple seconds. Or maybe even like right now, just because of the delay between me and you. Now, really appreciate you guys coming out here, hanging out. We've got 9 viewers at the end of 3 hours, which is awesome. And you guys have been super chatty the whole time. Oh yeah, you bet, Codex. Yeah, happy to tell you about fonts and stuff. But yeah, thanks for hanging out. Can't wait to see you guys next week. Oh, that actually reminds me, I'm gonna be making a poll about this. But what I want to do every 4 weeks of this, I want to make the 4th one free to view. So you as Elite Heroes will still be able to vote on direction, vote on items and everything, but the link to actually view the live stream when we make it together is going to be free for everybody. Maybe free for patrons, I'm not sure. We'll be able to vote on it. I've heard some feedback from people who really enjoyed the free stream that we had kind of before these events happened. That kind of like made them like really just kind of fall in love with the community. So I would love to be able to kind of open that up for more people, and to kind of be able to show, hey, this is who I am. This is how I interact with you. These are some of the benefits that you get for being a part of the community. So yeah, I think that it'd be fun to kind of open up that stream to everybody. Now, what would come with that too, is that I think that for the 4th week, we'll take the runners up of the art directions for the previous 3 weeks. So that would be like what? That'd be the Feywild, and in this case, Feywild, dwarves, and something regal, I think it was. But yeah, take the kind of like the second place directions and kind of put them in kind of like a final contest between the 3 of them. I think that'd be really fun. So that way if your runner-up idea didn't get picked, you'd have another chance to kind of explore that. So I think that's something that we're gonna do. So, yeah. So I think I'll either put like a post or like a poll up on that for Patreon. So keep an eye out for that. But yeah, until then, thank you guys all so much. Yeah. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. Always a pleasure. And until then, keep on adventuring. See you next week. Oh, also, Nicholas, I never saw your dono. I think that you're gone already. But thank you so much for that donation. That is incredibly generous. I don't know, my notifications aren't procking. Makes me sad.